Johnny Fontana, Real World NF Scorpio, back with another video.
Actually, in today's age, analytical skills are considered sometimes antisocial or asocial.
Yeah.
So, and of course, the public intellectual should be above all an intellect. He should be analytical.
Yeah.
He should offer ideas dissected, rearranged in a way that present both sides
Yeah.
for your perusal and decision.
Right.
But public intellectuals never do this anymore.
I can't think of a single
Not
time
one.
I've ever witnessed that.
I agree, yeah. Not one.
Today we're going to be talking about the role of the INFJ as well as our gift, right? And I don't mean so in a way that we are the world's gift, we are a gift to society, or that our role is to improve the world as a whole. No, I'm talking about in terms of our daily interactions, right? Who we come in contact with regularly, okay, as it pertains to social and human dynamics.
But really, seriously, the Romans called them vademecum. Come with me. Come with me, I'll show you. I'll show you the agora, I will show you the temples, I will show you the statues, I will show you. And then I will tell you, listen, my favorite is this palace, Palace Athena. That's my favorite. But first I will show you everything. So this is the public interest. He's a vademecum. Come with me. He has to take you by the hand
And show.
and lead you and show you everything. Panorama of human knowledge, human opinion, human history, even in politics you have depth.
Yes.
I mean, you have.
I find that too often we have it by where people online are searching for references, they're searching for guidance, they're searching for answers. And some of these questions may be of low class content, low culture texture, meaning that it may reference manipulation, why we steal, why we cheat, why we lie, why we act in certain ways, why we do certain things onto each other, right? Or some of our thoughts. Why do I think the way that I think? And impose these deep and counterintuitive thoughts onto others. And because most people cannot hold multiple concepts in their minds for every subject, while they may be able to hold different concepts as it pertains to their own specific abilities or knowledge, it doesn't mean that they have the ability to hold those multiple concepts as it pertains to human interaction, right? And most of what we encounter is human interaction. When we deal with people, unless you're sitting, in some dark room in an IT office, but at some point you have to interact with people, right? So often when someone asks questions, like I said, as it pertains to like low class or any other subject matter, you have it by where INFJs, and again, I'm picking on INFJs because I don't go to any other forums, but generally speaking, and even those of who I don't really connect with in terms of their personality type, they often provide self-reflect. So our job, our role, is to be able to provide perspective, paint the picture, provide the context, yes, provide our own opinion as well, but provide context in a way that the individual can go away with an informed understanding and then go ahead and make your own decision.
The role of a public intellectual is to paint a painting, to paint for you, a canvas, a panorama of everything. He can say, he has full right to say, because he's human, but some of them are human, and they have right to say, listen, these are the solutions. I mean, 1 to 19.
Yeah.
I personally think that 17 and 19 are the best. Why I think? Because they have a right to an opinion, but not before they have painted for you the total picture. in a totally unbiased and unprejudiced way.
Yeah.
No one is doing this today.
No, yeah.
Not a single one is doing this today. So yes, the answer is not only can they engage in politics and ideology, it is their moral obligation to engage in politics and ideology, but as educators, as arbiters, as guides. The Romans used to call such people vademecum. Do you know what is vademecum?
I don't.
I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted.
Will you tell me?
Don't rest a single word. That's very nice.
Right, so when someone says, why do we cheat, or why do I find myself cheating, or or why do I lie, or why do I do this, or why do I do that, or I find that I've been having a difficulty when it comes to dealing with my relatives, and I'm thinking deep evil thoughts. Why is this, or why is that? So people ask these questions, and for often you'll have individuals that come in and immediately they provide their own self-reflect, their own personal digest. Well, I don't indulge in that. Or someone says, oh, do INFJs pick up women? Or, what is it the case with that? I want to know. And an INFJ will say, well, I think it's very deceiving, it's low class, and I would never find myself involved in that. Then they proceed now to respond with personal digest, personal reflect, not even actually providing context onto which would actually assist that individual and have them go away, or have that person go away and say, okay, now I get it. I can see that.
It is the role of the public intellectual to expose these roots.
Yes.
To tell you, listen, this ideology in the 19th century was like that, in the 17th was like that, in the 12th was like that.
Yeah.
That's his role. His role is to familiarize the world to you.
Okay.
Make you familiar with the world. Make you at home in the world. And I always call public intellectuals the Gemütlichkeit, the ones who make you feel cozy in the world. Like the world is your oyster, Because when you face a complex, ever-changing, shape-shifting world, it's frightening, it's disorienting. Intellectuals, public intellectuals, are anxiolytics, anti-anxiety medication.
Right.
They should reduce your anxiety.
Yeah.
I mean, you come, what's going on here? I don't understand what's happened. Yeah. Sit down. It's not the first time it's happening.
Yeah.
It happened before in the 1940s,
Yeah.
and then this is what happened, nothing. Then it happened in 1920, it was bad, but after 7 years it was okay. I mean, they should calm you down.
Yes.
Should reduce your anxiety.
So our role is to say, okay, here's the deal. While I may not do it per se, but certain individuals do it because of this. But then there may be multiple dynamics within this reason as well. They also do it for this reason. But within here, it's also complex. So, let me sort of dive a little deeper into this area. But ultimately, I don't do it. And here's a couple of reasons why people don't do it, because of such and such and such and such. And that's our gift. Our gift is the ability to walk into any given situation and be able to say, no, I see where you're coming from. I see exactly what you're saying. I see where you're coming from. I see exactly where you're coming from. And as you can see now in this political atmosphere, there is so much polarization, so much of the I see it this way, you see it that way, and we can never come to terms. And I think it is incumbent upon us to be able to provide these perspectives.
And of course, the public intellectual should be above all an intellect. He should be analytical.
Yeah.
He should offer ideas dissected, rearranged in a way that present both sides for your perusal and decision.
Right.
But public intellectuals never do this anymore.
I can't think of a single
Not
time
one.
I've ever witnessed that.
I agree, not one. And this had been the role of public intellectuals well into the 60s. In France, for example, Raymond Aron, and they were all over the world. There were public intellectuals. And that's what they did. They presented to you, I mean, they had a position. And they said, I think it's like that. But they presented to you the whole panoply of possibilities, and like a menu. And they told you, I like this dish, but,
This is everything else is here.
there's everything else. These are the drinks and so on.
It sounds a lot more healthy to me, because everything at the moment seems to be coming, like you can't speak without having your position set first, and you're not really allowed to say, well, I don't know. I'm willing to go this way, I'm willing to go that, let's debate, let's talk, and we'll see. No, you start with your position. I noticed that for about 3 or 4 years ago on YouTube, people would be saying, is this guy a liberal or is he, it's got nothing, it's a fucking video on psychology, who cares whether I'm a liberal or right wing, what difference does it make?
Yes, because confirmation bias, belonging to a silo, a thought silo, belonging to a bubble, being with like-minded people, fending off countervailing information and the intrusions of reality. And so these have become the main art form in online. And so anyone who threatens the status quo by claiming to know the truth, by offering possibilities and so on, is a problem and is chased away.
Yeah.
It's spoil sport. He crushes the party.
Yeah.
So he's chased away.
Now, when I find that others aren't doing it online, who self-identify as INFJ, I'm not going to be the one to say you're not an INFJ, because you don't have the ability, or you're not employing the ability to hold multiple concepts. You are basically providing your own opinion, your own self-reflect, and not providing the person any context. You're not doing that person justice. So therefore, you're not an INFJ. I would not do that. I simply would say, I think you have a lack of experience. When we talk about INFJ and parenting, you have often fathers, who would go in and say, oh, I'm a terrible dad. I do this, I do that. I don't engage and I don't do that. Well, the person wasn't asking whether or not you engaged or whether or not you were a bad parent. They wanted to know what an INFJ father is like. And so if we're nurturing, if we're caring, if we are understanding, if we have this ability to understand energies, then we should be able to provide this information and to provide that context. You see what I'm saying to you? So I just wanted to just basically touch on that briefly, because I find that too often we self-identify, and we try to nitpick all the details, all the little functions, all of this, right? That anyone can possibly, imitate. Anyone can have a little bit of, FE. Anyone can NI. Anyone can sort of TI. Anyone can SE. But can you really hold multiple concepts? Can you really take on a real difficult issue and hold multiple concepts and provide multiple, reflections? You see what I'm saying to you? From an unbiased approach, can you do that?
Do you think public intellectuals like him have a responsibility to try and comfort people, or do you think they should just give us the truth?
Just the truth. On this I'm unequivocal. Just the truth. One need not be brutal about it.
Yeah.
One need not be sadistic about it.
Yeah.
So the truth must be administered gently, but never anything but the truth.
Yeah.
Never. And unfortunately, this is also a pitfall of current public intellectuals. They will dip the truth in so much syrup it drowns.
Yeah.
And it need not be. Ironically, if if he had a vocabulary larger than 400 words, or 200 lately, he might have been considered an iconoclastic public intellectual.
I've heard you say this about Donald Trump many times, that you...
Yeah, I'm not an admirer.
I know you're not
I was the first to suggest in early 2016 that the man is a total psychopathic narcissist.
Yes.
Let it be clear.
Yes.
However, his messages,
Yeah.
had they been more erudite, more vocabulary steeped, and so on, are sufficiently iconoclastic to merit close attention. For example, his attack on political correctness.
Yeah.
Interesting to hear Jerry say that, because he's not alone. Bill Maher, Chris Rock, a lot of comedians don't want to perform on college campuses. When did this start, do you think?
The trend has really changed just in the last 2 or 3 years. That's what a lot of people don't seem to understand. College students have always been involved in political causes. They've always fought for justice. But the new idea is that people are so fragile that if someone says something, they could actually cause trauma in a member of these protected groups. That's new.
That's the other phrase that you use in there, trigger warning specifically. Right. That's just saying, okay, flagging this as a possible offensive thing.
That's right. But once you start that, if professors are expected to trigger to mention anything that could trigger anyone, there's no end to it, and then students come to expect it, and what happens when they go out into the real world and nobody's there to warn them?
Well, you mentioned the real world. It's interesting, the timing of this article against the political landscape.
Yeah.
What do you think is the broader impact? I mean, we live in this world where everyone, in a way, is treated very fragilely. Like, there's bubble wrap around them.
Yeah.
What happens when people are suppressing things, not to say they're right things, but suppressing some free thought?
Well, so the very idea that colleges are trying to bubble wrap people is exactly the wrong thing to do. American childhoods have gotten safer and safer. Parents are more protective. Adults step in to stop bullying, to ban peanuts. So students come to college expecting adult protection. College is when we should be rolling that back, because they're about to go out into the real world. And instead, if we're putting more bubble wrap on, when they get out into the real world, their skins are so thin, they can't cope.
I think social media, as you pointed out, has a huge role in all of this. Everybody's got a crusade, it feels like.
That's right. It amplifies things.
Yeah.
It speeds everything up.
Jonathan Haidt, thank you so much. Such an interesting article.
Thank you, Vanita.
Political correctness is what Herbert Marcuse called a kind of repressive tolerance. Herbert Marcuse called it repressive tolerance.
Okay.
Like, if you're politically correct, you're not tolerant.
Yeah.
You're repressive.
Yes.
Donald Trump is attacking political correctness all the time. But he's attacking it like a bull and like a bully.
Okay.
Because he's a very low-level person. He's a kind of, peasant.
Yeah.
And, but had he been Obama style, had he been much more cerebral and sophisticated and smooth, actually, many of his arguments fit well with a proper public intellectual.
Johnny Fontana, Real World, and Scorpio. We out.